When Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause to Mpoto Band for such a fantastic performance. We also recognize the band behind the acrobatics. Thank you very much for that fantastic singing. We now have the ngoma, traditional dancers, as well as the drums on the stage. Mrisho Mpoto. Porto Band, thank you very much for those wonderful performances. Thank you very much. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, momentarily, we shall display a barcode which we kindly request you to scan it and give us a feedback of how this eLearning African Conference went this year in preparation for the next one coming. So kindly be generous enough to scan the QR code, which will shortly be on the scan, so that we are able to receive your feedback for nothing else but the purpose of improving the next eLearning Africa platforms. Thank you very much. I'm also delighted to inform you that the guest of honor is already at the premises. He is currently visiting the booth. Shortly after, he will join us, and as he comes, we shall be ushered by the brass band to welcome him, and while still standing, they will lead us in the national anthem as well as that of the African Union. After that, the religious leaders will take us through the opening prayers. We shall have a performance. So we've been receiving and seeing performances from Tanzania's mainland. This being a united republic, we shall also have performance from Zanzibar, famously known as Kibati Band, to be followed by the remarks by the Minister of Education of the United Republic of Tanzania. Then he will invite the guest of honor for the closing remarks. We shall have the group photo, one with the ministers present, respective honorable ministers present, to be followed by the management of the Ministry of Education of the United Republic of Tanzania, and that will mark the end of the 18th International Conference and Exhibition on Digital Education, Training and Skills Development happening in Tanzania here 2025. Thank you all, and thank you for your patience. Mpoto Band, if we still have one or two, otherwise the QR code is on the display. Kindly give us your feedback, and we appreciate so much your feedback. Thank you very much. Mpoto. And distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, kindly take a note when the guest of honor leaves. After the very end, we shall have the eLearning Africa plenary debate. So kindly, we shall only allow the guest of honor to part, but the rest of us, you are requested to remain back for this fantastic, very well organized and articulated eLearning Africa plenary debate. Do not miss this one. Thank you so much. Mpoto.
What shall we do? What shall we do? What shall we do? Oh, Jody. What shall we do? What shall we do? Hey, Jody. What shall we do? What shall we do? Zina waza zikurera rufumu mawoko. Tarigwirago tachiwana. Zina waza zikuchengeta rufumu mawoko. Tarigwirago tachiwana. Ashababata wamporere basinararamo. Tarigwirago tachiwana. Ashabatumbuka bamporere basinararamo. Tarigwirago tachiwana. Oh, Tori, what shall we do? Tori, what shall we do? Oh, Tori, what shall we do? Tori, what shall we do? What shall we do? Hey, Torigo. What shall we do? What shall we do? Zina rwanza zei kupinywa newa ukere naye. Torino iwao tachiwana. Zina rwanza zei kupinywa neya gakiza vumba. Torino iwao tachiwana. Oh, tachiwana. Torino iwao tachiwana. Ende uzizi bakunawo tachiwana. Torino iwao tachiwana. Ajizi bakunawo tachiwana. Torino iwao tachiwana. Ende uzizi bakunawo tachiwana. Torino iwao tachiwana. What shall we do? What shall we do? Hey, Torigo. What shall we do? What shall we do? Serebe tuba urim namatoba robe tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Tachiwana. Serebe tuba urim namatoba robe tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Tachiwana. Serebe tuba urim teuro babo tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Serebe tuba urim teuro babo tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Tachiwana. Serebe tuba urim namatoba robe tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Tachiwana. Serebe tuba urim teuro babo tapererwa. Tachiwana. Toni maimansando. Tachiwana. Oh, Tori. What shall we do? What shall we do? Hey, Torigo. What shall we do? What shall we do? Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana. Hakuna matata.
Tanzania yetu ndiyo nchi ya kusifiwa, kokote ulimwenguni watu wote watambua. Tanzania yetu ndiyo nchi ya furaha. Naye Baba Nyerere ndiye wetu muhifadhi, naye ndiye aliyeleta uhuru. Tanzania yetu ndiyo nchi ya furaha.
Your Excellency, may I request you to kindly remain standing as the brass band leads us into the national anthem and that of the African Union. May I request all of us to kindly remain still as the brass band is leading us through the anthems. Thank you. Honorable, Your Excellency, may I request you to continue to stand up and all of us to remain standing as you observe a few seconds of silence following the passing of the former Vice President and Prime Minister David Cleopas Msuya of the United Republic of Tanzania. May his soul rest in peace. May I request you guests of honor, distinguished participants, to kindly take your seats. Thank you very much. I will now invite the religious leaders to come to lead us through the opening prayers. Shall we start with the sheikh to be followed by the pastor. Karibuni viongozi wetu wa dini, muikabidhi shughuli yetu kwa Mwenyezi Mungu, tukianza nawe sheikh, alafu baba utakuja pia kuikabidhi shughuli yetu. Karibu.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ewe Allah mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu, shukrani zote ni zako kwa neema mbalimbali unazoendelea kulineemesha bara letu la Afrika. Tunakushukuru kwa kongamano hili kubwa la kielimu la kutafakari namna gani elimu itatusaidia wana wa Afrika sote. Ewe Allah, kwa kuwa wewe ndiye ambaye umetuonyesha kwamba elimu ni kitu chenye thamani kubwa pale ulipoanza kumpa elimu baba yetu Adamu, hata kabla ya kumpa majukumu ya kukuabudu wewe na kumuonyesha mazingira namna gani atayatumia ili yamnufaishe na aweze kupata fursa ya kukuabudu vizuri. Tunakuomba ewe Allah, katika kikao hiki chenye baraka ambacho kinatathmini ilmu, kinatathmini maendeleo ya kielimu, kinaliangazia bara la Afrika katika kuelimika, tunakuomba ukibariki kikao hiki. Tunakuomba wataalamu wetu hawa wazidishie maarifa, wanakongamano hawa wafungulie fahamu, wajadili ama waondoke na maazimio yaliyokuwa mazuri ya kuweza kulistawisha bara letu la Afrika kupitia elimu mbalimbali ambazo umetupatia. Ewe Allah mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu, tunalikabidhi bara la Afrika mikononi mwako. Tunakuomba uziondoshe shida zinazotukabili, vita, umaskini na kero nyingine mbalimbali zinazoliandama bara la Afrika. Tunakuomba Mola wetu mwingi wa rehema, mwenye huruma, uziondoshe kero hizo. Kwa kipekee tunaikabidhi kwako Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Tunakuomba uzidishe amani yake na amani ya Afrika na ulimwengu mzima. Tunakuomba mzidishie hekima na busara rais wake na marais wote wa Afrika na wa ulimwengu mzima, ili manufaa yapatikane katika wana wote wa Afrika na wa ulimwengu mzima. Wa sallallahu wa sallama wa baraka ala nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amin. Amin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Kwa jina la Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu, tuombe. Ee Mwenyezi Mungu, uketie mahali pa juu penye kiti cha rehema, tunarihimidi na kulitukuza jina lako kwa wingi wa fadhili na neema yako ambao Baba umetujalia. Waja wako tumesogea mbele zako jioni hii katika mkutano huu ambao Mungu tangu misingi ya ulimwengu ulipoweka na ulipomuumba mwanadamu ulijua ya kwamba siku moja tutaketi namna ambavyo tumeketi. Yale ambayo Bwana yamejadiliwa na yanajadiliwa, yanazungumzwa, tumeona ni vema tukukabidhi Mungu wetu. Mungu, tunakuomba watoto wako wa kike na wa kiume tumekusanyika mahali hapa. Pasipo wewe hakuna jambo tunaloliweza. Mataifa mbalimbali yamekuja mahali hapa ili tuzungumze kwa pamoja. Neno lako linatuambia ya kwamba wakusanyikapo wawili watatu kwa jina lako, Bwana u kati yao. Na sisi tunakutanguliza wewe, kwa maana tunakuita ili uwepo kati yetu. Asante kwa ajili ya mwenyeji wa nchi wa taifa letu la Tanzania, Rais wetu Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. Endelea kumjalia afya na amani. Laiti kama rais wetu angelikataa jambo hili lisifanyike, tusingelikuwepo mahali hapa. Kwa sababu ya upendo wake na ridhaa yake tuko mahali hapa tukiyaendeleza haya kwa ajili ya taifa letu la Tanzania, mataifa mbalimbali, bara la Afrika na mataifa mengine kwa ujumla. Tunakuomba Mungu, jalie mkutano huu katika jina la Baba, Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu. Amen.
Thank you very much, our religious leaders, for leading us through the opening prayers. Your Excellency Hemedi Suleiman Abdallah, the second Vice President of the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar and our guest of honor this afternoon, we are totally honored and delighted to have you with us this afternoon. May I request all of us delegates to really put our hands together for the guest of honor for having put his time to be with us this afternoon. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Professor Adolf Mkenda, Minister of Education, Science and Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, and of course our host this afternoon. A big round of applause to him as well. Guest of honor, before I recognize all the ministers present, allow me to also in a very special way recognize the presence of Ms. Rebecca Stromeyer, founder and CEO of eLearning Africa, with us this afternoon. If you can please rise and we clap our hands for her. Thank you very much. Guest of honor, allow me to recognize in a very special way the presence of the following ministers who have been with us from we started on the 7th of May this year. I would like to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister from the Secretary of State for Secondary Education of Angola, Minister Soraya Teresa de Jesus Matthews Kalongela. If you may please rise and we recognize your presence. Okay. Honorable guest of honor, allow me to recognize from the Congo Republic, Brazzaville, Honorable Minister Gilshine Thierry Magwesa Ebome. Let's clap our hands for him. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister Raissa Malu. Raissa Malu. Let's put our hands together. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, from the Republic of Malawi, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister Jesse Zondiwe Kabwila from Malawi. Okay, I also recognize the presence of Honorable Minister from South Sudan, Gabriel Changson Chang. We recognize the presence. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Education and Sports of the Republic of Uganda, Joyce Moriku Kaduku. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, also allow me to recognize the presence of Minister Cornelius Muita of the Ministry of Information and Media from Republic of Zambia. We recognize the presence. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister Frederick Makumure Shava, Minister in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Minister Amadou Sai Sevan from the Ministry of National Education, Republic of Mali. May I, in a very special way, recognize all the ministers and the deputy ministers and those country leads present with us this afternoon. Your Excellency, allow me in a very special way to also recognize the presence of Honorable Jerry Silaa, Minister of Communication and Information Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania. Delighted to have you with us. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Zainab Katimba, Deputy Minister, President's Office, Regional Administration and Local Government of the United Republic of Tanzania. Delighted to have you with us. Your Excellency, allow me to also recognize the presence of Honorable Kosato Chumi, Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation. Thank you so much for being with us. Your Excellency, allow me to recognize the presence of Honorable Edward Mpogolo, District Commissioner, Ilala District, and our host as well at this district. Thank you very much. I would also like in a very special way to recognize the presence of Professor Caroline Nombo, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, please be pleased to know that we have distinguished speakers, panelists, and moderators from all across Africa. We also have exhibitors, and I'm happy to inform you, Your Excellency, that we have had over 105 exhibitors and partners present. We've had more than 1,350 conference participants from over 80 countries. I would like to recognize all your presence, students, religious leaders, members of the press, and please be happy and pleased to know that we are live through TBC, which is our national channel, as well as other media platforms, including the social media from across Africa Network. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. In Tanzania, we have a salutation. When I say Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, we respond kazi iendelee. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Your Excellency, as we come to the end of the 18th International Conference and Exhibition on Digital Education, Training and Skills Development, which was themed Reimagining Education and Human Capital Development for Africa's Futures Prosperity, here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, we were truly honored to have had the opportunity to host this important forum. As I did say, guest of honor, for the past 3 days, we've had 11 pre-conferences workshops, one of which comprised of only ministers of education from the participating countries. We had 3 plenary sessions, over 80 sessions and workshops, over 280 speakers from all over Africa. We have truly had the honor to host this conference in Tanzania. Before I invite our Minister of Education, Honorable Professor Adolf Mkenda, for his remarks, allow me, guest of honor, to have a bridge of entertainment from Kibati, all the way from the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, for a brief entertainment, and then we shall have Honorable Professor Adolf Mkenda for his remarks, to be followed by your remark to Africa through this platform. For now, naomba niwalete Kibati, bendi ya Kibati. This performance is coming all the way from Zanzibar, where we are honored and delighted to have the guest of honor coming from the beautiful islands of Zanzibar. And as they said, I believe as we come to the end of the eLearning Africa Forum, we will make time to visit Zanzibar.
Hello. Wana mambo wa makunduchi na lugha zao. Asema wana mambo wa makunduchi na lugha zao. Wana mambo wa makunduchi na lugha zao. Asema kidibiri kunyimba we na bicha kuimba we.
kwanza kwende mjini kusambaza pokurudi na nini we. Henie kwa kuimba hunishindi labda kwa ngumi, ufugumijike kumiguni kugeze uchumi we. Hena kila mnachaka nioe akae makini we, tazama ulimwengu vyo kuimani katae nini we. Heni achenende makundu chini achenende we. Achenende makundu chini achenende. Asema baba Hemedi ni achenende we, Kizimkazi ni achenende we. Ni achenende Kizimkazi ni achenende. Basi Kizimkazi we kwa Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan karibu na mtendewe. Asema Mheshimiwa Makamo wetu wa pili we, wa Rais Zanzibari Kizimkazi we, baba we kwa Mama Samia Suluhu karibu na mtende. Huko kuna pweza kakata uchoko, hewe na usia we watoto wachanga musendewe. Basi hongera we baba, hongera we Makamo wetu wa pili, hongera we wa Rais wetu wa Zanzibar, hongera hoya we kwa juhudi zako twazidi akawe. Ongera baba Hemedi, ongera we baba, ongera we oya we kwa juhudi zako wazidi kung'ara. Ongera we baba, ongera we, ongera we baba, ongera we, ongera we baba, ongera oya we kwa juhudi zako wazidi kung'ara. Asema mwakali yosafiri na Bwana baba, mwakali yosafiri na Bwana we, tumili matango yangu kaya tuma oya we bakisi majanga shabanzi aka. Hongera we baba, hongera hongera we baba, hongera hoya we kwa juhudi zako zidi kung'ara. Asema baba we kwa juhudi zako zidi kung'ara, kwa juhudi zako zidi kung'ara, baba kwa juhudi zako zidi kung'ara. Asema pongezi zetu tunatoa leo kwa serikali we, wanda kongamano kubwa la kujadiliwe mifumo bora kuboresha elimu kidigitali. Asema pongezi zetu twatoa leo kwa serikali, kongamano kubwa la kujadili mifumo bora kuboresha elimu kidigitali. Wakajinga kama mijanga kuna bangula da kumeza jela langali chonge tumwa kumebega changa kuseli chomo kali kainga tagalangi jisafu munikana kama kwa kali kainga atang. Kwanza kuna vijana kuna bata baba la kukungwa changa, tena musi wale kuku wenu mkasingizia vipanga. Mieli pata na mami make makula kitoka kuna makula sama kila membari kila semana pata na jele kulia kile leo kwenda zinga kasovele baba kushazinga mishaka milele. Asema karibu baba Hemedi tuwe sote shereheni, sio wanao tumefurahika sana baba kwa kualikwa ugeni, na wetu akujua Afrika baba wapenda utamaduni. Hichi kikundi chako cha JKU baba twatokea Zanzibari, tushafika hapa tunaomba samahani. Asema Mheshimiwa baba Hemedi we karibu tuwe sote shereheni. Kwanza wana wa ngoma ya Kibati baba tumefurahika sana kwa kualikwa ugeni, na wetu akujua Afrika wapenda utamaduni. Ngoma ya Kibati wajua Afrika yatokea mkoani baba, ikiwa tuna makosa tunaomba samahani, maana hatujamwona kuku kuchinjwa kwa kiani baba, na hatujamwona kuku kuchinjwa kwa kiani. Hata kuombea kwa Mola wetu, maana ni utotoka hapo nyumbani kwa salama na amani wesi yetu we. Asema waloruna na wanule leo tulijadiliwe, hakujadiliwe. Kwanza wageni muliofika hapa kwetu Tanzania, karibuni tuwaambia. Kwanza mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi we, wageni waliofika hapa kwetu Tanzania we, sietawambia karibuni, ujumbe mwausikia. Maana Tanzania inayo mbuga nyingi za wanyama, fuke nzuri za kuvutia, popote mtakapokwenda na hakika mutaenjoy na hakika mutafurahia. Asema popote mtakapokwenda twajua mutaenjoy tena mutafurahia, maana Tanzania ni nchi ya amani na utulivu, wenyewe twajivunia bosi yetu wa Asema wageni mliofika kwenye hili kongamano, karibuni twawaambia. Asema wageni mliofika kutoka nchi mbalimbali kwenye hili kongamano, karibuni twawaambia. Maana ni jukwaa mahususi kwenu wataalamu na viongozi wa serikali, watoaji huduma za kiteknolojia. Maana leo wadau wa habari voa elimu leo wapo uwanjani, sote tunafurahi. Sema mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi na wadau wa elimu toka bara la Afrika na maeneo mengine leo pande zote za dunia, maana watajadili kwa kina namna hii ya teknolojia ya kidigitali inavyoweza kuboresha elimu, hasa kwenye elimu tuweze kutusaidia. Kwanza mwalimu Tazi Sanyama, asema mwalimu Tazi Sanyama ni kwenda pwani, sepata nipata chanje ndo nyama. Kwanza Baba Hemedi zanati, baba tunakupongeza sana. Sema dhamira yako ya dhati baba, kwa moyo unapambana. Sema hujakikali ya kiti ili utangaze jina, hulali kama roboti baba, si usiku si mchana. Sema waipambania nchi baba, watu wote tunaona. Asema baba waipambania nchi, watu wote tunaona. Tena hongera Baba Hemedi, endelea kupambana wasietu wa Asema fundi wangu sitanyamaza kusema kwanza ni wanyamazishe wenye inda. Asema mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi mwanao Makame Haji, kwanza na wanyamazisha wenye inda. Maana namjua Afrika ngoma ya Kibati anaipenda sana mheshimiwa Baba Profesa Mkenda. Asema mheshimiwa Baba Profesa Mkenda ni wizara yake ya elimu, tena vizuri kanjipanga, ashirikiana na wenziwe pekee hajajitenga. Menajua atasimama hapa nileke sokoni memanzese kwenda kununua japo soda ya Mirinda. Sema mheshimiwa Baba Profesa Mkenda hii ngoma ya Kibati hakika anaipenda. Sema mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi mie ninavomjua wizara ya elimu, tena iongoza vizuri na sisi sote tunapenda. Atakaposimama hapa atakuja kutoa pongezi, tutaelekea Manzese kwenda kununua japo Mirinda. Hasema malengo ya kongamano japokuwa kwa ufupi, we mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi leo nitawatajia. Kwanza malengo ya kongamano japokuwa kwa ufupi leo nitawatajia. Maana kubadilishana uzoefu tena na uzoefu tena ni bora kwenye matumizi ya tehama huku katika elimu na sekta nyingine pia. Basi kubadilishana leo uzoefu tena ni bora kabisa kwenye matumizi ya tehama na huku kwenye elimu na sekta nyingine pia. Maana kujenga mashirikiano kikanda na kitaifa kuimarisha elimu malengo kuyafikia. Asema kuimarisha elimu malengo kuyafikia, maana kuisaidia nchi wanachama kuandaa sera zao tena mifumo ilo thabiti tena ni ya uhakika malengo kuyafikia sietu. Sema wawapiwe, wawapi viongozi wetu waje hapa tufurahike na. Sema baba Profesa Mkenda we na kuita uwanjani. Waziri wetu wa sayansi nawe uje hapa uwanjani. Mkuu wa wilaya wa Ilala we uje hapa uwanjani. Katibu wetu wizara elimu na kutaka uwanjani. Waliosema haya leo mbona leo yamekuwa eti muje hapa we. Sema waje hapa we. Sema waje hapa we. Sema waje hapa we. Hai baba baba. Baba huyo we. Baba huyo. Baba huyo. Asema baba we. Baba huyo we. Baba huyo we. Baba huyo. Baba. Sema baba emeji we. Baba huyo. Baba tunakupenda we. Baba huyo. Baba. Sema baba we. Baba huyo. Baba huyo. Hongera mwanangu we. Hongera. Nanyi mwaitikia vipi? Hongera na sisi wanao wetu hongere. Basi kuna jambo la umuhimu watu muliopo hapa twaomba tuelewane. Sema Mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi, kwanza kuna jambo la umuhimu watu wote muliopo hapa twaomba tuelewane. Mazuri tuyaonayo kwenye wizara ya elimu ni matunda ya serikali zetu mbili we. Sema we ni awamu ya 6 na ya awamu ya 8. Sema Mheshimiwa Baba Hemedi ni awamu ya 6 we. Na kule visiwani ya Baba Huseni awamu ya 8. Imetufanyia mengi mazuri, sote hakika tunayaona wananchi Tanzania, tuacheni tujivune. Sema wananchi Tanzania Baba Hemedi tuacheni tujivune. Basi Rais Mama Samia na Dr. Mwinyi sie tunawaombea dua watuongeze vizuri tena mizano mingine vosi yetu. Nani mwatikiaje we? Hongera na sisi wanao wetu hongere. Asema we hongera mwanangu. Hongera. Nani mwatikiaje we? Hongera we na sisi wanao wetu hongere. Sema baba we hongera mwanangu. Hongera. Nani mwatikiaje we? Hongera we na sisi wanao wetu hongere. Kwanza mtoto anipiga kowe. Igongo japono. Mtoto anipiga kowe. Igongo japono. Sema mtoto anipiga kowe. Igongo.
Them a big round of applause. Asante sana. Thank you very much, Kibati, all the way from Zanzibar. Thank you very much for that fantastic performance and the stage warming. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, allow me to kindly recognize yet again the presence of Honorable Minister Kilo Vivian Asheri of Cameroon. If you can please stand, we clap and recognize your presence. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. Allow me, Your Excellency, to also recognize the presence of Deputy Minister from the Republic of South Africa. From South Africa, if you can please stand up. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we also have Honorable Eugênio Adolfo Alves de Silva, the Secretary of State for Secondary Education from Angola. Your Excellency, we also have a representative of the Minister for Communication, Information and Technology from Egypt. This is none other but Dr. Eba. But we also have, all the way from Mozambique, the Secretary of State, Ministry of Education. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, as we are headed towards the end of the conference, and as this conference had the focus on e-learning, as it's dubbed eLearning Africa, allow me, before I bring to the podium Professor Adolf Mkenda, who will then invite you for your remark, to invite Honorable Jerry Silaa, Minister of Communication and Information Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, to give us his regards. As he comes, let's put our hands together and a round of applause. Karibu Mheshimiwa.
Your Excellency, Hemed Suleiman Abdullah, Second Vice President of Zanzibar, allow me to stand on the protocol which has already been addressed. I stand here on behalf of the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, which works hand in hand with the Ministry of Education as an enabling ministry. We at the Ministry of Communication and ICT, we are overseeing the ICT policy of 2016, which among other emphasize on the use of ICT in all sectors in the country. Currently, Your Excellency, we are implementing the Tanzania Digital Economy Framework for 10 years, which was launched by none other but Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan on 29th of July 2024, which has 6 pillars. Among the pillars, I'll just mention 2 for the sake of time. One is ICT infrastructure, which we are working very hard, and Her Excellency as enabling our ministry on the budget to implement the distribution of the internet services in the country. And currently in Tanzania, we have more than 90 million cellular phone users and more than 49 million internet users. We're implementing the project of 758 tower stations for the mobile broadband, and the government is enrolling the optic fiber. Currently, we have 109 districts connected, and we are now in the project to implement the rollout of optic fiber in the remaining districts in the country. Doing that works hand in hand with the Ministry of Education, and it's quite a honor to be welcomed in the eLearning conference for Africa, where African countries sit together for all these 3 days to discuss various technologies which education sector can enhance by using ICT. Your Excellency, allow me to end here and to congratulate my colleague, Professor Adolf Mkenda, and the rest of the Ministry of Education team for the conference well organized. We thank you, Madam Rebecca, and the rest of your team for organizing this conference in Tanzania, which not only have brought a big leap in our education sector in terms of ICT, but also has opened up Tanzania and advertised it to the world in terms of tourism, as our country has a lot of attractions, which I'm sure visitors who have visited for this conference will not leave the country without visiting some of our attractions. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Asanteni sana.
Your Excellency, allow me now to invite to the podium Professor Adolf Mkenda, the Minister of Education, Science and Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, for his remarks, and later on invite you to speak to Africa through this platform. Mheshimiwa Waziri, karibu sana.
Asante sana. Shukran. Merci. Obrigado. Your Excellency Hemed Suleiman Abdullah, the Vice President of Zanzibar, honorable ministers who are still with us here today, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, we are delighted that you are here with us to officiate the closing ceremony of this 18th edition of the eLearning Africa Conference. The theme of this conference is reimagining education and human capital development for Africa's future prosperity. This theme is apt. The explosion of technological development, the internet, artificial intelligence, data science in general. This explosion is redefining how education should be delivered. And it is also redefining what education should deliver. We have had 3 days of very productive engagement, starting with ministerial roundtable with my fellow ministers. We had plenary sessions, a number of parallel sessions, bilateral engagements, networkings, exhibitions, as Your Excellency have witnessed through some of the booths you visited today. We drew participants from more than 80 countries, from Africa and beyond, and a total of participants that exceeds 1,300. We have learned from each other and we have drawn inspirations from each other. We live here with stronger resolve to forge ahead, to embrace the future. The future is not going to wait for us. We must get ready to make sure that we are ready with the kind of technology that will be needed and is actually needed now. Before I request you to deliver your remarks, Your Excellency, may I mention few people for their contribution. May I single out Rebecca? Please, can you stand up? The founder and CEO of eLearning Africa that has been running for 18 years without fail. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Duncan. I don't know whether Aida is with us today, Aida Mensah, who has also played a big role in organizing. I think probably she has already left. But all the participants, particularly my fellow Aida, round of applause, please. Aida has gone through many universities, but she spent some few days at the University of Dar es Salaam and still remember some Swahili. Asante sana, Aida, dada yetu Mensah. Thank you, my fellow ministers, for being with us today. And we had fun yesterday in the dinner gala, and I saw some ministers, their move on the step when Ngoma ya Kibat was playing is just fantastic. It was useful for us to relieve the tension of hard work you have been involved. Thank you to all participants for joining us. Special thanks goes to Professor Caroline Nombo and the entire team, the PS, the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and the counterpart from Zanzibar, represented now by the Deputy PS. And special thanks to all the sponsors who made all this very possible. We'll communicate our thanks to all the sponsors. Now, Your Excellency, it's my distinguished honor to request you to the podium to deliver your remarks and bring this conference to a close. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa.
Let me sit. Honorable Professor Adolf Mkenda, Member of Parliament, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, United Republic of Tanzania, I recognize all ministers present in our occasion, Deputy Permanent Secretary and Deputy Permanent Secretaries, ambassadors, distinguished guests, distinguished delegates, participants, member of press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm standing here to represent His Excellency Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, who invited to be a guest of honor, but due to unavoidable reason, His Excellency cannot be able to be here. So he directed me to present his remarks. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as we approach a conclusion of prestigious 18th eLEARNING African Conference, I stand before you with a deep gratitude to deliver these closing remarks. It is truly an honor to have been invited, and I sincerely appreciate the trust and the warm hospitality extended to me by the organizer and all participants. Thank you very much. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United Republic of Tanzania, it has been our great pleasure to host you in our beautiful country. We are delighted to welcome you to the vibrant city of Dar es Salaam, and hope you have enjoyed our hospitality, services, and the unique spirit of our people. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my appreciation to the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology for their exceptional leadership and unwavering commitment in making this event a success. My sincere gratitude also extends to the National Organizing Committee and the National Steering Committee of Permanent Secretaries for their invaluable guidance and tireless effort. Thank you very much, PS. I am equally grateful to the International Communication World Event Team for their professional collaboration and the steadfast support. This conference would not have been possible without the dedication and hard work of all these partners. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to thank our speakers, panelists, and facilitators who have shared their expertise and inspired us with a fresh perspectives. Appreciation is extended to the organizer, sponsors, and the partners whose dedication has been instrumental in fostering these vital discussions. Additionally, I commend the exhibitors who showcase innovative education technologies, demonstrating their potential to address social and economic challenges. The exhibition has truly highlighted the power of innovation in enhancing teaching and learning. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Africa stands as a pivotal moment in history with the largest youth workforce and abundant natural resource, offering an unparalleled opportunity to drive economic transformation and sustainable development. The transformative potential of digital technologies can enable Africa to harness its youthful population and vast resource for innovation, economic growth, and empowerment. By leveraging digital solutions, we can reshape our economies and unlock new avenues for prosperous, sustainable futures. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, Reimagining Education and Human Capital Development for Africa Future Prosperity, emphasize the transformation of the education landscape and the development of a skilled workforce to drive sustainable growth and innovation. In an era marked by the fourth industrial revolution, AI, and the need to address climate change, this conference has explored how Africa can leverage its vast human and natural resources to lead in sustainable development. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, over the past 3 days, we have delved into crucial topics such as inclusive education, teacher trainings, technology integration, and AI in education, with a strong focus on building digital skills, your empowerment, and employability. Your discussion have also covered sustainability, heritage, digital transformation, and the challenge within Africa education. Collaboration and partnership emerged as a key to the driving meaningful change across the continent. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to this insightful discussion, we have witnessed the success on key sessions, including the Minister Roundtable, where policy leaders engage in a high-level dialogue to align educational strategy across nations. Delegates share experience and highlight innovative practice that can be replicated across countries. Moreover, the bilateral and the networking session have fostered deeper collaboration and partnership, paving the way for collective action in advancing scalable education solutions across Africa. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, with a youthful population eager to embrace digital tools and abundant natural resource at our disposal, we are in a unique position to leapfrog traditional models of development. Let us seize this moment to collaborate, innovate, and accelerate the digital revolution in education, ensuring that African youth are equipped with the skill to thrive in 21st centuries. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the recommendation emerging from this conference are crucial for the sustainable development of our nation. I hope all countries will work diligently to implement this recommendation. As we look forward to meeting again next year, I trust we will have the opportunity to reflect on the progress made. I strongly encourage the Secretariat to include this recommendation in the communique for adoption and implementation by all Africans. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania is committed to digital transformation with a dynamic and a promising youth population ready to drive innovation and technological development. We warmly invite investors, business, and institutions to partner with us in Tanzania and Zanzibar. We have vast opportunity for collaboration, especially in digital technologies await. All institutions are prepared for joint program that will foster growth and a sustainable, tech-driven solution. Together, we can create lasting impact and unlock new opportunities for progress in the region. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as you prepare for your journey home, I wish you a safe travels. I hope you take with you not only new knowledge, but also lasting memories of your time in Dar es Salaam. I invite you to explore our vibrant city life, breathtaking landscape, and the rich cultural heritage of Zanzibar. Whether you visit the Serengeti, Ngorongoro crater, or Zanzibar pristine beaches, I'm sure you will carry the warmth of our people with you. It will be an honor to host the eLearning African Conference once again as we continue to drive innovation and collaboration in education across the continent. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, with this, a few remarks on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of Revolutionary Council, it is my honor and a privilege to declare the 18th eLearning Africa Conference 2025 officially closed. Asanteni sana, obrigado, merci beaucoup, thank you.
Another round of applause for the guest of honor. Thank you very much. I've requested the guest of honor to kindly remain back on the stage for a few photos. We're going to take 2 pictures. May I request invited guests to kindly take your seat. Members of the high table, please join the honorable guest of honor onto the stage. May I also request all ministers present and deputy ministers and the permanent secretaries, country leads, to please join us on the stage for a group photo. While we have the ministers and the deputy ministers and the country leads take the photos, may I call the permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, and the directors from the Ministry of Education to come forward for the next photo after this. Kindly be reminded, as soon as we allow the guest of honor to part, we shall remain back for the e-learning debate. Please remain back. Thank you. Please don't carry anything as you come for the group photo. Leave them on your chair. You'll find them safe and secured. Organizing committee, please join us as well onto the second and final photo. Thank you so much, Honorable. Please let's exit the stage through our right hand. Only ministers, members of the high table, please remain on the stage. Thank you very much, honorable ministers, deputy ministers, and permanent secretaries from the respective countries. Can we all now get onto the stage? Everyone, let's go onto the stage. Everyone, let's go on the stage. This is the last picture. When I say e-learning, can we all say Africa? E-learning? 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 Okay, so can we at least thumb up? E-learning? 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 Excellent. So the rest of us, except for the high table, can we exit through the right-hand side? Let's exit through the right-hand side. May I request all of us to please rise as we allow now the guest of honor to take leave. Can we all please stand up? Brass band, naomba tumtoe mgeni rasmi sasa. Mgeni rasmi, tunakushukuru sana. We thank you very much and we wish you the very best as you take your leave. Let's clap our hands in appreciation. Thank you so much.
Testing, testing. 1, 2.
What if you go there?
Okay.
Thank you all. May I request you all to take your seats for the debate. The long-awaited e-learning Africa debate is happening now. May I request all of us to please take our seats. It's a powerful debate. As I said earlier, you do not want to miss this. Please proceed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will please ask that we all take our seats. And Professor George Oduro, please come forward.
The debate is on now. May I request that we take our seats?
Could we all please take our seats?
Can we all please be seated for the e-learning Africa debate?
Professor George Oduro from the Ministry, Technical Advisor, Ministry of Education, Ghana. Thank you, Professor. Go ahead.
And that message is that Ghana is prepared to welcome you all to the 2026 Ministerial Round Table. You are welcome to Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin our debate. I'll ask you all to remain in your seats as we prepare the stage. For those of you who have never attended a debate before, this is always the highlight of the e-learning conference. So if this is your first time, welcome. Come learn, come enjoy, come debate. And let's also have your input. I would like to ask everybody to please move to the front seats. Could you all occupy the first 4 rows, please? Thank you very much. If you could all move to the front seats, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. So if you could all please move to the front, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
So basically, if you see an empty seat in front of you, please occupy it. Can we all move forward? And those who are seated up, if you do not mind to come down, will be lovely. But those of us down here, if there's an empty seat in front of you, kindly feel free to occupy it. Even the black chairs now, we've finished all the protocol. We only now have the debate.
So everybody, please come to the front. Thank you very much. Those who are upstairs, if you could come down, would be nice to have you all down here. Come and take the front seats. The first 2 rows are still empty. Great. Keep moving, keep moving. And as you're moving, I shall ask our participants, our debate participants, to go up on the stage to occupy their various seats too. So our participants are coming up onto the stage. We'll let those who are upstairs come down and also settle. Thank you for those who are moving forward. Great. Thank you very much. Yes, there's just a few more people standing. They'll soon settle down and we will officially begin. And there's some more people coming down. Thank you. Please move straight to the front. Great to have you all here. So as we are settling, and as the rest are coming down, before I formally make it up to the stage, I would like to interrogate your minds. I'd like to throw some thoughts your way that will help us understand the topic for today's debate. So let me show you something very terrifying. There's no visuals needed. Just imagine this. Our children being taught African history using textbooks on the 19th century colonial archives. Our elders, wisdom fading each day, undocumented, undigitized. And as AI reshapes education globally, Africa's contribution stands at just 2%. This evening, we confront a haunting question. Is AI the final chapter for our epistemic erasure, or can we rewrite the code? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Onyango, and I'll be chairing the debate this evening, and we're looking forward to you all participating. Can we give a round of applause to all our participants up on stage? Come on, you guys, let's do better than that. Thank you very much. So, if you'd allow me to stand there as I read this before I come back and take my seat. It's great to see you all here today. Really great to see you. I can see some familiar faces. I can see plenty of new faces, which has been more exciting and more important. So, if you've never been at a debate session before at eLearning, well, this is it. You're going to enjoy it. You're probably going to pull out your hair. You're probably going to want to throw your water bottles, but I'll declare that you can't do that. You must just sit still, wait for the time for your questions, for your contributions, and we'll allow you to also be a part of it. So, let me officially welcome you all to the 18th eLearning Africa Plenary Debate. Today is the 9th of May, and the motion before us tonight is: this House believes AI will undermine Africa's indigenous knowledge more effectively than colonialism ever did. To our colleagues from across the ocean, just so that we're all together, it is AI, not A1. There is a disclaimer which I would like to put forward. Tonight's debate is designed both as edutainment and intellectual stress relief, a space to explore provocative ideas with rigor and wit. The arguments presented by our panelists before us here are crafted for the purpose of this debate and do not, and I repeat again, do not necessarily reflect their personal views or the positions affiliated with their institutions. However, we encourage you to engage critically, but remember this is a forum for lively exchange and not a policy directive. So allow me to introduce the different panelists and to rightfully tell you a little bit about them and what they do, or what they have done and continue to do. I'll start off with Asma Fenry. Asma, just put up your hand up so people can see you. Thank you very much. She's a leading digital innovation strategist who has dedicated her career to interrogating the intersection of technology and identity bias. Her landmark study revealed that 80% of AI-generated content on African history is drawn from sources outside the continent, predominantly from the colonial era archives and Western academic repositories. She's now at Honoris United Universities, and Asma is driving a Pan-African initiative across 31 campuses to build culturally aware AI systems. She's developing algorithms to detect and correct biases in digital learning tools. So, and there's much more I could continue saying about her, but let me pause there. I will go to her colleague, who's also for the motion. His name is Poncelet Elileji. I hope I said that right. Poncelet, could you please put up your hands so people can see you? Great. So Poncelet is one of West Africa's most respected voices in digital rights and indigenous knowledge preservation. He's developed the region's first blockchain for this traditional knowledge and now safeguarding more than 40,000 cultural and ecological assets, from ancestral farming techniques to sacred chants and folklore. In 2023, his audit of AI educational tools found that 89% of Swahili language content included several cultural distortions. Most importantly, right now, Poncelet is also at the African Union as the lead advisor on digital sovereignty, where he's helping shape the continental policy to protect indigenous data. I'll now turn over to the team that's against the motion. And yes, it's normally the norm that is ladies first, but I'll go by the traditional African way of ladies first, but men before. So I will go over to Donald Clark. Donald Clark is from Wildfire Learning, and he's a pioneer in AI-powered education. He's the CEO there. His acclaimed Digital Groit project has preserved over 5,200 African folklores using natural language processing and oral transcriptions in collaboration with UNESCO. He has brought these stories into the classrooms in Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, and other countries also. So Donald believes that when wielded responsibility, AI is not a threat, but a vessel. His systems allows elders to record stories in their own voices and dialects and has no need for translations. And finally, from our own home and from here in Tanzania, Nancy Sumari. Please wave to everybody. Thank you very much. She's the founder of Jenga Hub, which is an award-winning technologist, and she is also an award-winning technologist behind the Maktaba AI, the first major Swahili first language model trained on over 10 million pages of African literature, oral history, and schools curricula. Her work now serves more than 200,000 learners across East Africa, offering culturally grounded, linguistic, accurate content. She was also named the Tech Woman of the Year, and Nancy sees AI not as a force of epistemic loss, but of linguistic justice. So it is now time for me to take my seat, and let me remind you again what the motion says. So the motion reads, this House believes that AI will undermine Africa's indigenous knowledge more effectively than colonialism ever did. For those of you who just walked in, there is a disclaimer. Anything the participants and the debaters will be presenting are simply for edutainment purposes, do not reflect their own personal beliefs, neither the institutions that they are affiliated with. So without much ado, let me invite the team that is for the motion. So from your side, who will come forward? Asma? Fine, great. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, respected opponent, I will begin with a painful truth. Colonialism is not just about domination, it is equally about shaping narratives. In Africa, it has replaced Ubuntu with individualism, communal wisdom with textbooks shipped from outside Africa, and oral histories with foreign-centric archives. Through it all, a deep dependency was manufactured on imported technology, external educational models, and foreign capital. However, in recent decades, we have entered a new era, one that speaks not in the language of empire, but in the syntax of algorithm. And it presents challenges that echo the past with greater speed and depth. If colonialism once deepened our dependence on important goods, AI today risks deepening our dependence on important truths. AI operates in the realm of algorithms, of data flow, of code written in distant lands, often by minds with little understanding or appreciation of the intricate tapestry of African knowledge. These algorithms, trained on datasets that overwhelmingly reflect Western perspectives, become the new gatekeepers of information. They determine what is relevant, what is prioritized, what is even deemed to exist. Think of our oral traditions, the proverbs that encapsulate generations of wisdom, the nuanced understanding of our ecosystems passed down through storytelling. How will these be indexed, understood, valued by an AI trained on Western literature or Eastern scientific databases? AI is a digital cultural bomb, understood subtly yet relentlessly devaluing and marginalizing our unique ways of knowing. Our children, increasingly interacting with these systems, will be taught that knowledge resides in these foreign algorithms, not in the voice of their grandparents, not in the ancient practice of their communities. Let us understand the nature of this new power. AI is becoming the default lens through which knowledge is processed, filtered, and valued. It informs what we search, what we see, and what we believe, and increasingly what we forget. It decides what content is relevant, what history is shown, what language is recognized, and what health risks are flagged. Today, AI is being introduced to African healthcare, education, policing, and financial services without meaningful consent or contextual understanding. And who benefits? As AI-generated value explodes, expected to add trillions to the global economy, where is Africa's share? When data is the new oil, we are the oil fields, but someone else owns the refinery. And who builds these systems? Who owns them? Who trains them? It's a handful of global corporations headquartered in Silicon Valley or Shenzhen. Let me take you through three concrete areas where AI is already discriminating Africans. First, our languages. As of today, more than 90% of large language models are trained on English or other dominant global languages. Less than 0.1% of AI models reflect African linguistic or cultural realities. Many African languages, rich in metaphor, in proverbs, context, and community meaning, are not even tokenized by AI models. There are over 2,000 languages spoken on this continent, yet the majority of AI languages barely recognize more than a handful. Try speaking Yoruba or Darija to your AI assistant. Indeed, AI fails to understand them. Why? Because our languages are underrepresented in the datasets used to train them. It's not a glitch, it's a reflection of whose knowledge counts and whose doesn't. Secondly, systemic biases. AI models trained on Western-centric data perform poorly when applied in Africa contexts. Facial recognition technologies, for instance, routinely misidentify dark-skinned individuals. AI health tools trained on Western populations cannot detect diseases common in Africa genomes, and health AI tools trained on foreign datasets make fatal errors when used in Africa hospital. This is not just about poor performance, it's about who gets to define the standard human in the age of AI. Once again, we find ourselves in the margins of systems we did not design, but that increasingly govern us. Thirdly, our cultural narratives. Recommendation systems like those on Netflix, YouTube, or TikToks prioritize content with high engagement rates based on US and Chinese algorithms. African filmmakers, musicians, or creators are forced to adapt not to their audience, but to a metric designed far away. Culture is flattened. Local nuance is lost. That means African creators must shape their stories, their music, their aesthetics to fit foreign norms if they hope to be seen. Our cultural expressions are thus repackaged and exported back in a diluted form. AI is not just about automating decisions, it's promoting cultural homogenization. But why do I argue that AI will be even more effective than colonialism at undermining indigenous knowledge? As the great Pan-Africanist and first president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, eloquently stated, neocolonialism is the worst form of imperialism. For those who practice it, it means power without responsibility. And for those who suffer from it, it means exploitation without redress. AI, in its current trajectory, is a potent tool of this neocolonialism, directing and influencing economies and policies from outside without accountability. But unlike colonialism, AI is invisible. It wears the mask of objectivity. It speaks the language of innovation. It promises personalization but delivers normalization. It's harder to resist what we cannot see. It's harder to reclaim what we don't even realize we've lost. While colonialism could be overthrown on the streets, AI is embedded in the system that runs hospitals, schools, banks, and elections. It's not imposed by soldiers, but by infrastructure. It shapes our future without even needing our permission. Now, some may argue, but we can develop our own African-led AI system. And yes, there are inspiring efforts, Masakan for African natural language processing or national data protection laws. These are signs of resistance and they matter. But we must ask, are they enough to counter the scale, the speed, and dominance of big tech? Can fragmented efforts in a fractured continent match the force of trillion-dollar infrastructures? And if we do not act, we will one day wake up and realize our children no longer speak our languages. Our stories no longer exist in the databases of the world. Our philosophies are no longer taught, not even to ourselves. So let us be clear-eyed. Colonialism sought the control of the land. AI seeks the control of the mind. If African countries doesn't design their own AI feature, they will consume one designed elsewhere, branded and optimized for someone else's empire. Unless we act with intention, we risk losing not just our past, but our right to define our future. I'm not anti-AI. I'm not anti-progress. I'm for an Africa that owns its data, defines its destiny, and shapes its future. But we cannot do that if we do not recognize the profound threat AI poses to our sovereignty. Because we must recognize the threat before we can resist it, because we must claim sovereignty over our minds and our stories, because we must not allow the next empire to live inside the machine we praise. Let us rise to the challenge and ensure that AI becomes a tool for empowerment, not erasure. So yes, with the urgency of my voice, I stand firmly in favor of this motion. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Asma, for those comments that you've just made. So she has said that AI has not just come for the land, but even worse, for the minds. Over to you, and let's see. Yes. No, it's yes, this team against the motion, yes. Your counter-argument. Donald, you're going to go first? Okay, fine.
Good evening, my friends. I feel that this needs some explanation. So, Rebecca said on Friday we want everybody to wear their national dress, and I've seen some fantastic national dress. I can't easily compete with the guy just behind here in the middle. It's the most colorful thing I've seen ever. It's fantastic. Thank you, my friend. But the reason I'm wearing this is I'm not from England. I'm from Scotland. Anybody from Scotland? Hey, one person, great. Anyone from England? Boo. That's my son, by the way. Now, let me tell you a story about Scotland. Can I have my slides, please? I'm going to put forward the idea here that AI is Africa's friend. It's not your enemy. And it's easy to use words with ism on the end. Imperialism, colonialism, abstract nouns to prevent progress. But the truth is, I wonder why you're at a technology conference if you're just going to use those words to stop technology. Because Africa's future prosperity, if you're not getting involved with AI, then you will suffer badly on the prosperity front because the rest of the world is, and resistance is futile. But let me tell you a story about Scotland and the word colonialism. Sorry, the slides are not going forward. Can you put my next slide forward, please? Yeah, there we are. Excellent. So this is the United Kingdom, and in 43 AD, 2,000 years ago, the Romans invaded from the south. But they stopped just short where that road stops because they hit Scotland. And they hit Scotland, and we fought back very successfully. So successfully that they had to build a wall to keep us out. Now, that was the first big act. That was 2,000 years ago. But there was worse to come because the English gang came in the 14th century with Edward I. And that was far worse. But we had somebody to save us, ladies and gentlemen. We had Mel Gibson of Braveheart. He saved the whole nation, apparently. But this was a real person. It was actually William Wallace who saved us from English colonialism. And then that wasn't the end. In truth, it went on till about the middle of the 18th century, and then we finally got defeated at a battle of Culloden. But this picture is interesting, because what killed us wasn't the bravery of these men over here with their swords. It was the technology over here, which were the guns of the English. You can see they have guns, they just have swords. That was the end. But my son is here, he's English, I'm Scottish. And there is no longer any enmity because it was a long time ago, you know? And it's important, I think, that we look forward in the world and not always to the past, or we'll be hidebound by the past. Now, most of the technology, you're absolutely right, comes from the United States, okay? Now, the United States themselves, remember, 1747, we were defeated. 1776, America gets its independence from the colonialists. It calls itself in the Constitution, these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. This was actually written by some people who were called the Scots-Irish who had emigrated to America. They called themselves colonies, but they were quite proud of being the colonies. And of course, it became the greatest economy on the planet. And that's where this technology comes from, but I'm not holding it against them. They did it. They should be proud of that. But it's proving to be very useful for all of us. Now, if we now go on to the history of AI for a moment, we had here in Africa the very first marks that were put by Homo sapiens onto a shell about 500,000 years ago, Cave Art 50,000. Writing was invented here in Africa, in Egypt, only 4 places on the planet. In Egypt, Mesopotamia, much later in China, much later in Mesoamerica. Egypt in Africa invented writing. And since then, the total sum of knowledge through printing, computers, AI, was gathered together and used to train the AI model over here. So when you speak to ChatGPT, you're not speaking to a piece of technology, you're speaking to the sum total of human knowledge and culture. You're speaking to us. You're speaking to us. This is not technology. It's a wondrous, magical thing. And if you were to try and read the sheer scale of this knowledge, it would take you 170,000 years reading 8 hours a day. Ladies and gentlemen, you ain't catching up anytime soon. We're well behind. And the truth of the matter is, who were the greatest colonialists in the world? Where did all Homo sapiens come from? Here, Tanzania. We're all Tanzanians. Everything came from just north of here. All Homo sapiens, every single one on the planet. And it conquered the entire planet.
Wa Donald Digital. Inapendeza sana kualikwa kuzungumzia akili unde na ukoloni hapa Dar es Salaam.
Sorry, it didn't have the volume up. That was me speaking Swahili. I can't speak Swahili. But I typed it in English. The AI took it. That's not me, by the way. That's not video. That was just an avatar. This is just numbers. And if you had heard that properly, it was speaking perfect Swahili. In fact, not just Swahili. It was Tanzanian Swahili, not Kenyan Swahili, on its accent. In other words, this technology is infinitely flexible. It can speak dozens and dozens and dozens of languages. This is not something that's exclusive, it's something that's inclusive. And then if we talk about the rarity of languages, then, sorry, it's going too far. Google, one of these evil empire companies apparently in America, actually have a massive program which is heading towards the inclusion of 1,000 languages. And we have James Manyika, who I think comes from Zimbabwe, who is a really senior guy in Google, who has already set up several research centers in Africa to do exactly what you were saying, to gather data so that we don't lose the richness of the languages, especially in Africa. And he was named, this is him at the bottom, one of the top 100 AI influencers, and rightly so. Why? Because he believes it should be inclusive and should include every African language. But there's a problem. There's a problem because most African languages, so there are 7,100 languages on the planet, and about 2,100 in Africa. The problem is that most of them are oral languages without much writing. There's a problem. How do we face up to this? Well, we have initiatives like the No Language Left Behind. This is from Meta or Facebook. And of course, they have targeted low-resource languages, languages that have hardly any text. And let me explain why that's a good thing for Africa and future culture, because they've already got 200 languages, 55 African languages, and they're doing well. Not only have they set up Florist, which is a big, massive multilingual data set, which includes many, many African languages. They are being proactive in seeking out that data so that these models can be trained in exactly the same way that we want them to be trained, with minority language translation. Then we have Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia is interesting because that was started in America by Jimmy Page. It's free. It was a wonderfully inclusive thing. I can remember being in debates years ago when people said, we can't have any of this Wikipedia in our universities. It will destroy the minds of children. They'll never learn anything if it's all there and they can just look it up. And now who would do without Wikipedia? It's one of the most popular knowledge bases on the planet. It's a fantastic human achievement, Wikipedia. And look at the languages here. This density of languages in Africa here. 2,150 languages, but 1,500 are oral only. How do we solve that problem? What do we do if you don't have the data to train the model? Well, let me explain. You can't make a pot without clay. That's a given, okay? But can you? Can you make a pot without clay using AI? In truth, you can. This is a surprise. This technology is so magical, you can make a clay pot without clay. And let me explain why. You've got speech to text, so you can gather through mobile phones or oral testimony, which is what many people are doing throughout Africa. There are really good people working on this.
1 minute remaining.
You take that data
1 minute.
and use it to train the data. You can do AI transfer learning. So Bantu, there are about 500 Bantu languages. Once you've got a couple of main Bantu languages, it can do an incredible job in translating the others. It's just very clever mathematics. On top of that, you have multilingual models, zero shot. These are all AI techniques that work superbly well. So AI saves and preserves culture and language. Things that you will have lost may be captured. There's one example of a language in Kenya with only 7 speakers that's been saved. That would have died without AI. And if you don't think any language can be tackled by AI, then watch this, because we've even managed to crack dolphins. Now, if we can speak to dolphins, surely we can crack the code of
time
any
is up.
African language.
You now have to sit down. Time over. Give him a round of applause.
Denise has the world's largest
So
collection.
do we believe him when he says that you are the colonialists, you sit in this room, you Africans, you are the origin, and it's not what they said? Let's see what happens and let's see what goes on as we turn to Ponsolate. And again, let me repeat what our motion is. The House believes AI will undermine Africa's indigenous knowledge more effectively than colonialism ever did. So they are against that motion. They are for the motion. Let's hear what Ponsolate has to say. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I think in looking at this subject, we should look at what AI exactly is. You know, programming systems that analyze data. And what do? They learn from experiences and make smart decisions guided by human inputs. That is what basically AI is. But as an African, I will take us back to 141 years ago. 141 years ago, under the auspices of Leopold II of Belgium, Otto von Bismarck initiated the Berlin Conference. No African was present there in 1884. 14 countries were there, and they divided us like pizza. That division that they divided us by pizza, they had the data. Remember what I started with AI? It's about the data. That data today is still not controlled by Africans. We talk about digital sovereignty. In Wolof, they say, "Senior boss, our own." You move back, you even look at the nations out of the 14 that were that 1884 to 1885 partitioning. 7 of them didn't get any possession. Number 1, the United States, Russia, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, the Ottoman Empire, now Turkey, Austria, Hungary. None of them got anything. But check out what they are doing today in the continent. This was 141 years ago. We pushed forward to 79 years ago. To be exact, it's on the 25th of May. Africa will be celebrating our African Union Day. We had Haile Selassie of blessed memory. We had Kwame Nkrumah and Gamal Abdel Nasser. And Nasser was very instrumental, because what did Nasser do in 1956? He proved to use what you call our own by nationalizing the Suez Canal. And today, you look at Egypt's identity. Trump is talking about taking the Panama Canal. Do you see the British or the French talking about the Suez Canal? They dare not, because it's African. So once we get our data sorted out, then we can now move into this stage, because that data, as my colleague said, Asma, is the new oil. But what happened? To truncate that data, all our Pan-Africanists, apart from Gamal Abdel Nasser that died naturally, they were all removed, unalived. Nkrumah, we all knew what the CIA did. Haile Selassie, with the influence from socialism, we had all this Cold War period, we get confused. The Union came again, we remodeled ourselves to form the African Union, Thabo Mbeki, 2002. Within the same African Union, we are still partitioned. We don't even have one convention that we all want to respect on cybersecurity. Less than 53 of our countries, less than 25 out of the 53 or 54, depending on what you want to call Africa, have signed and rectified the Malabo Convention for our own cybersecurity and personal data protection. Our leaders still have this paranoia to what happened from the partitioning, that we still have the internet being shut down in certain countries when elections are coming. Today, we are a continent whereby the only place you will go in the world that they talk about offline technologies is in Africa. Because people believe we shouldn't have affordable and meaningful internet. We don't control our contents. If we have affordable and meaningful internet, our young people, any village they are, they will generate that content, use machine learning, and generate the content and own that data. So when we sit here and are for the motion that AI will truncate our indigenous knowledge, is because of these examples. As long as we don't have digital sovereignty, as long as most of our data are sitting in European cities, our politicians, our technocrats are scared that even when they want to create a .gov, .gm, or .sn, or .tz top-level domain, they are scared that that data doesn't belong to them. But because of what happened since 1884, most of them will be on Gmail, be on Yahoo. They will subscribe to the General Data Protection Regulation of the Europe, which still controls Africa, unfortunately. And that's the truth. Until we gain that sovereignty of our data, then we can be able to make that data to analyze properly and learn from our own indigenous experiences. If you look, it was 2 years ago, J.D. Pinkett came up with this movie on Cleopatra. Our African brothers and sisters in Egypt, they went berserk. Because sometimes, some of our people in the global north, they think Africa is not made up of different shades of people, white, black, brown. We are all here in this continent. But J.D. Pinkett depicted Cleopatra as black. She wasn't black. She was Egyptian, but of Greek and Macedonian origin with some Persian blood. That doesn't make her not African, because you look at the whole history of Egypt, how many people colonized Egypt? Egyptians are not mainly, most Egyptians, their blood is not really fully Arabic. The most Arabic nation in Africa with full Arabic bloc is Sudan. My North African brothers and sisters are here, whether the Amazingi in the Maghreb region, they are more Berbers than Arabs. But these are things that have to be documented by us. We have more pyramids in Sudan than in Egypt, but they are not documented. Our knowledge, our indigenous knowledge, has to be documented. We see what happened with Timbuktu. When Islamists raided Timbuktu, if not for the help of UNESCO, a lot of our heritage from the time of Mansa Musa could have been lost. And what every young African wants today is openness, free movements, so that they will be able to tap those knowledge. It's still a shame within our continent. Most Europeans flew in here. The same people that carved us up, they didn't need a visa. Because the same colonial mentality has affected our leaders. The mindset hasn't changed. Deep neocolonialism. A lot of Africans here, they needed visas. E-visa, whatever you call them. But a European just has to jump on the plane and come here and boom, he's stamped. A Nigerian, a Burkina Faso, he can't go to South Africa. He has to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get a visa. And our South African brothers feel it's cool. So we have to look at the Africa we want. In 2063, Africa Union will be 100 years old as a union. And I believe by that time, our children, our grandchildren, I don't think I'll be here by that time, could have known that our data is important and will take it as their own. And then we can move to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So just to sum up what he has said, that data is not owned by the African continent. There's an issue with digital sovereignty, and all this compounds back to the division of Africa where none of us sat at the table. Over to those who are against this motion, and let us hear what Nancy has to input. Remember, Nancy, you have told us that Tanzania is the home of where colonialism began from. That is what Donald said. So let us hear you building up on that.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, fellow debaters, and all gathered here. Let's pause for a moment and consider the magnitude of the claim before us, that artificial intelligence, a tool that we are just beginning to shape, could undo the very fabric of Africa's wisdom more effectively than colonialism ever did. It's a powerful provocation, but it is also, respectfully, profoundly misguided. Because to compare AI to colonialism is to forget the scars that still mark our lands and minds. Colonialism was intentional, it was forceful, and violently extractive. It erased languages, it criminalized customs, and displaced elders and rewrote histories. AI, on the other hand, is not an empire. It is a mirror, a magnifier, and in African hands, a megaphone for everything colonialism tried to silence. Colonial systems banned our languages in schools. They ridiculed our belief system, dismissed our herbal knowledge, and declared our ways primitive. Today, we have tools powered by AI that can reverse these erasures. For example, in Tanzania, we've developed the Kalimani app, a first AI tool to translate text and speech into Tanzanian Sign Language. So before Kalimani, a deaf child in rural classrooms had no access to instruction in her language. Today, she learns in her own visual language, and she teaches her classmates how to sign. So that's not erasure, that's power. Look at the Maskano project, a volunteer research initiative across Africa that's building AI models for over 40 African languages. Our elders in Tanzania can use community radio to record oral histories, and with speech-to-text AI tools, those stories are now searchable, translated, and preserved, not just for academic achievements, but for children to read on any devices, on any mediums, both in Kiswahili and in their home languages. So AI can be used to protect endangered languages, digitize cultural rituals, and document medicinal plant knowledge, turning what was once whispered in village courtyards into shareable, searchable knowledge for generations. So where colonialism burned, AI can build. Where colonialism divided, AI can connect. And where colonialism silenced, AI can speak in every language. So it's already happening in Africa. It's not hypothetical, it's actually here. We must stop framing innovation as a dream or distant possibility. A few more examples. Ajira Digital in Kenya and Eneza Education. These guys are leveraging AI to deliver localized microcourses via mobile phones. In Senegal, AI is being used to digitize Wolof folktales and proverbs, storing them into repositories where they can be integrated into formal and informal education. Pastoralist communities, for example, in northern Tanzania, are working with AI-based livestock tracking tools that integrate indigenous migration patterns that are not recorded in official state maps but passed through down community memory. These examples continue to show us that AI is not just technical, it's deeply cultural, or at least it can be if we adapt it to our needs, but only if we're the ones designing it. So yes, Africans might not have been in the Berlin conference, but we're here today. And with AI in our hands, we are already using it to recover, record, and reclaim our heritage. The real danger is in exclusion, not the technology itself. So let's not confuse the way the tool is used. AI is not a colonizer, but exclusion from AI can feel like colonialization all over again. So we must confront this true risk, that African voices, languages, and ethical systems are missing from the data, from the code, and from the rooms where AI is being designed. But that is a political and economic challenge. It's not an ontological one. So let's be honest. If Africa is excluded from shaping AI, that's not AI's fault. That's policy failure. It's failure of investment, of regulation, and imagination. But we don't remain powerless. Across the continent, we keep training AI researchers through programs like Deep Learning in Daba. We're developing data protection laws and continental AI frameworks, and advocating for open data, ethical AI, and Afrocentric digital infrastructures. We don't fear AI because it's foreign. We fear AI because of how often we've been locked out. So what do? We build, we shape, and we invest. We take back that control. We ensure that Africa's data, our stories, knowledge systems are not just protected, but they're amplified. So in conclusion, Honorable Chair, to those who say AI will undermine our indigenous knowledge more than colonialism did, I ask you, did colonialism ask permission before destroying our identities? Did it preserve our voices in multilingual formats? Did it train us to lead in technologies of the future? AI can, with intention, inclusion, and investment, it can become the vessel through which our elders speak again. It can encode wisdom from past generations, deliver it to future ones, not through textbooks written in London, but through apps built in Dar es Salaam. So let's not fear the tool. Let's fear being too afraid to wield it. I reject the motion, very strongly so, because I believe deeply that if colonialism was erasure, then African-led AI can be resurrection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I need some helpers with the microphone here so that we can get some audience participation, and this is how we will do it. So please put up your hand wherever you are. You can only either ask one question to either side of the different debaters here, and I'll just again sum up what it is that the motion says to help guide you as you ask your question or make your statement. So the motion is the House believes AI will undermine Africa's indigenous knowledge more effectively than colonialism did. So they are supporting the motion, they are against the motion. So we'll start off with the gentleman in blue, and please make it short. And if anybody else, just put up your hand so I'll know where to come to next. Okay, we'll come to the lady in front and then the gentleman behind. Please give us your name, which country you're from, and then ask your question or make your statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Adeboye Adewoyin from Nigeria, specifically from the National Open University of Nigeria. I want to believe that what we need to do as Africans is rise from here and tell our leaders to make the right investments, to own AI, to seize control of our data, and therefore write our own algorithms or develop from where it is. Now, until then, you cannot stay outside. That used to be something we say in Nigeria. You cannot change a system from outside. And so I conclude by asking two questions. How did the Chinese take over man?
problem. Narrative that those data sets are unbiased, then we don't need AI for now. It will just be a tool for the elites. It will not help our rural-based children to improve their learning outcomes. Our teachers, all they need is connectivity. They will localize the data, produce their own curriculum just with connectivity and own that data. And that local content that the lady from Cameroon was talking about, it comes from the community. What do children need? You go to the Arab world, for example. Arabic numericals are used. Most children, a lot of children in Africa, they go to madrasa schools and they can use Arabic numericals to search things on the internet. Knowledge that they can use and protect for their community. So data sovereignty, digital sovereignty will keep our indigenous data here, and AI is later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. We're just about to vote for who wins, so if you could all just hold on to your seats. We'll be done in about maximum 7 minutes. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I thank you for the chance to make conclusive remarks. I dare say our colleagues on the other side have joined us based on Mr. Poncelet's speech. The extinction of a language is not just the loss of words. It is the collapse of memory, culture, and identity. Every African language carries within itself a worldview, a rhythm, and a way of relating to land, spirit, and each other. And for too long, systems of power have pushed those languages to the margins. But we now stand at a turning point. With artificial intelligence, when shaped with African hands and African values, can become one of the most powerful instruments of linguistic justice this continent has ever known. It can listen to forgotten dialects, document sacred stories, and teach children in mother tongue at scale and with respect. So, through AI, we can build tools that not just preserve, but revive, teach, and embed our languages in the architecture of tomorrow's digital world. So, AI is not the end of our indigenous tongues. If we rise to this moment, it does become our future. It's echo, an amplifier, and second life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So the moment of truth is here, and it's you, the audience, that decides. So, do you believe that AI undermines and will be worse than colonialism? That is what they said. Or do you believe that AI actually enhances, improves, and gives a whole lot of opportunities? So those who agree that it does undermine and divide, by a show of hands, let me see. If you agree that it undermines, those who say that no, it actually enhances? Wow. I think it's clear. So those who believe that it enhances have taken the day. So a round of applause. Please stand up. Let us recognize them. And thank you all for being a great audience. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for waiting until the end. We are sorry that it took longer than usual. We had to have the official closing ceremony. But again, we are grateful that you're all here. And again, please go onto the website. If you want to see the video, you'll be able to find it loaded, I think, in about a week or so. So we have ended the e-learning DA debate. And we wish you all a great evening, a lovely weekend, and a gracious trip back to your countries. Thank you all, and take care.